The cloud. All right, with that, we'll call the March 19th Middleton Tourism Commission meeting to order. The first item on the agenda, as always, the approval of the minutes. These minutes are from the February 20th meeting. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved. Hotel updates. How's it going over there at GF for you, Ted?
Well, I mean, transient is, I think, down everywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
And that continues to be the case, but I know for our little area of the world, we're down a little bit in group, but I think that's due to the fact we had a very haphazard sales consistency in the last year. But even that's picking up for us. So I think so far the first quarter's kind of gone to expectation.
Yeah.
For us. So I mean, obviously we're up a little bit year over year, but that's because last year we had a lot of rooms under renovation at this time. So.
Right. Yeah, I echo that. Transient is still down. Our main focus pretty much across our entire portfolio hotels, being that most of them are suburban, is just group. We've got to make up the shortfall in group, and whether it be in occupancy. And the problem is it is causing some difficulties in trying to drive rate. And if this continues on much longer the way that it is, then I'm concerned that we might start losing some of the ground that we've made up in ADR over the last couple of years, recovering from the pandemic. I want to drive rate. I want to drive rate. With the operations are having difficulties with staffing and everything else, so I'd rather clean less rooms for more money. But then you've got the revenue managers and the bean counters that are like, I don't want to see any property driving rate if you're only hitting 50% occupancy. You need more occupancy, so you need to lower that rate. The problem with that at our property is that we do so much group business that if we start dropping our transient rates, it's going to drive group rates down, and then it's going to be a race to the bottom. So
yep,
we're really trying to avoid that situation as best we can. But the only way to mask it, I guess, is by flooding the house with group business. We've got to get the occupancy in group so that we can, protect those rates and protect the ADR. And, hopefully over time we can get that business travel back and just some more transient demand. But yeah, so that's my update.
It's a very good point about the rate.
Yeah.
We're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, it's scary. I'm getting conflicting, messages from different interests within the company, as far as, like I mentioned, ADR, we need to drop rate. And I explain what happens when we do that, but we'll hit the quarter. Like you said, it is going as expected. Local catering is picking up for us, so that's good.
As far as my report, I don't have a lot right now. So, but I do want to remind you all of the email that I sent about commission applications.
Yes.
If anyone is not thinking that they want to remain on the commission, if you could just reach out to me and let me know. I might try to talk you back into it, but at least this way too, I can make sure that I'm filling that seat, because we're very intentional in making sure that hotels are represented, attractions, dining, a meeting planner, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And they haven't given me a hard deadline yet, but it's up in May. So I know that it's going to be sometime in April.
Yeah.
And so if you all could get those in and just let me know when they're in too, because I usually then will email the mayor with recommendations based on who applied.
So are you notified when an application is made?
Nope.
Okay, because I submitted mine last week.
Oh, perfect. I'm also not told when you've met with the mayor. So
Not met with the mayor.
I know in the past, like some people have one-on-ones with the mayor, and
Yeah.
no one, and I'm told nothing. I'm completely left out of that. But I do give recommendations on why I think that these applicants, especially a new applicant, but applicants are how they contribute to the commission.
Yeah, when I was a new applicant, I did meet with Gurdeep, but then in subsequent years I did not. So who knows how our new mayor will do that.
Mari, my application I'll either submit tonight or tomorrow, so it'll be coming.
Thank you.
And I'll get mine done before the end of the week.
Kevin, do you want to confirm or deny?
I don't know what's in it for me.
You know, if you come in person, there's snacks.
Yeah, I'll submit. Just remind me in email.
I'll send you another email with the link.
Perfect.
Goodness gracious, I really don't have a lot more than that. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I will have the star report, which I might just email to you guys, like just the occupancy rate. I think that came in actually Friday. And I just breezed through it and I saw occupancy was actually up
Mhm.
citywide in February, which is fantastic.
Yeah, February's not bad.
February went pretty well. Just a little update from Bachfest. So we hired Belcher and Lincoln to come and they did a photo and video shoot and I got those. I got all of that in on Friday as well and was looking through everything today. And we're going to hopefully put together a winter promo next year. Because we do have some file art for cross country ski. I was hoping to get better, newer stuff this year, but we can always put those together for a promo next year and then update it with new content next year. And then hopefully, you know, the ski lodge and everything will be there. So that's part of that. And then obviously just like photos for promos, but we'll share some of that with you as well, Kevin. Especially since you said that you were hoping to update your website. And it's the first time we've done a really professional shoot for Bachfest. I had a freelancer come last year and I thought he did a great job. But we didn't really have video of the event. We have video of everything. We have the stage, we have the band, we have the crowd, we have drone footage of the crowd. And that can be used in multiple ways, not just for Bachfest.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. Creative has also been approved, and so we're going to start our spring campaign in April. And just a reminder, this is our second year of fully being in Iowa. Well, the Cedar Rapids, Dubuque DMA. And so our target DMAs are still Milwaukee, Chicagoland. The quotes go around it because it's Chicago and North.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't always spend a whole lot of money in South Chicago. Just because we don't see as much of traffic and it's such an expensive DMA,
Yeah.
We kind of have to choose northern part of Chicago and the northern part of Illinois, which is pretty much our target audience anyway. They're the people who come here. And then we added the Cedar Rapids DMA a year ago, which did pan out. We noticed in our Placer AI tracking research that Iowa started to jump up last year. So they're starting to see, oh, we're not that far away.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, we're not that far away.
No.
And so we're hoping to just, you know, keep that going. And in the winter, we did one promo. We did some winter giveaways and we did one that only targeted Iowa and then one that targeted Chicago just to see how they'd go and to like get the money to go a little bit further. So that's just kind of a little bit of a preview on, excuse me, marketing. Hopefully in April, I'll actually have the new 15-second commercial to show you. So, and that'll have some of the new video from this fall that we took and some of the new static art and digital art that's going out. And as far as ad placements go, we're maintaining everything that we've done in the past. So for meeting planners, we're still in Wisconsin meetings, Midwest meetings, excuse me, WMPI. We are actually like gold members of WMPI, so we do multiple ads with them. And then we're continuing with Circle Wisconsin, of course. We are, I think we're a gold or platinum or something member with Circle Wisconsin. We're a sponsor, we're a member, and an advertiser. Our logo is usually just as big as like Wisconsin Dells, whatever that is, because group travel is very important to us. And we are doing a brewer's ad again because I got one pretty cheap and I'm just recycling. So we'll have a trackable QR code that actually works this year. It did not work last year. So we're kind of doing a lot of the same things, and then I'll give you guys kind of a roundup of where else we're going to be placed because I've been kind of like looking around. But I also want to give you a heads up that PBS reached out on Friday and asked if they could speak with me on Monday, and I said, well, I need to talk to my commission. They want to do Middleton as an episode, but these are pay to plays. So it can be anywhere from like 25 to 30 grand,
Mhm.
which is still actually less expensive than Discover Wisconsin. And this is, I think the segment is called Your Backyard.
Okay.
And I can share more about that. Like I've been looking at some of these, like Discover Wisconsin, PBS has this. They also have the George McGivern, which I always mispronounce because George McGovern of South
Right.
Dakota. But he was here like 15 plus years ago. And they just did one. And he does Main Streets, I think is what his is called. And they just did one of Madison and it's really cool. So if you go onto the PBS website, you can watch that. But those are way more expensive. Discover Wisconsin was like 40 grand for the entire package. And PBS said that this would also still include like B-roll and some social. So it looked like a less expensive thing. Why I'm bringing it up is obviously this wasn't part of our budget. So we will, the commission, I'll give you the proposal once I receive it. And if the commission wants us to do this, then, and I'll go through the whole thing with you and the proposal. But if we want to do it, we have to vote on either A, being over budget and just being cool with that so that it's in our minutes that you approved me going over budget. So at the end of the year, it comes out of our savings, or going before finance and requesting that money to be reallocated into advertising so that we can put it for this. Either way, we'll have to vote on that, on whether or not you want to do that. Do we have the money? Absolutely. As you guys saw, we have plenty of money in our savings right now. And this might be a really good opportunity, or it might be the moment where we decide, well, maybe we do want to do Discover Wisconsin. I kind of wanted to wait until, oh, go ahead.
Have we looked at the demographics and viewership for Discover Wisconsin versus PBS?
So PBS is sending me their proposal, and I'll be able to do that because I have the old Discover Wisconsin proposal. I don't know the specific viewership of the backyard, but Discover Wisconsin primarily focuses on Wisconsin.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily always a bad thing, because you can still view it and share it on digital. And PBS, I'm just gonna have to find out. He said he should be able to send that to me by this Friday. But we'll be able to compare that for you guys too, so that you can kind of see.
Is it worth getting an updated proposal from Discover Wisconsin so we can compare apples to apples and see like what might be the better?
I feel like I spoke to him last summer, so I might have one that's relatively new, but I'll double check. I'll see what the date is on that one, because he had given me one several years ago, and then and of course I was like, well, that's far out of our budget at this point. It's the pandemic. And then we spoke, and then pretty much it was almost the exact same proposal. But let me check on what the date is. So then that way I can just give you guys everything in one packet.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then I'll try to actually email it to you in advance so you actually have time to like look through it. And then we may or may not have to call a special Zoom meeting, because I'm not sure what PBS's schedule is. Because I know they want to do this in May or June. So they're going to have to get us on the schedule. So I'm sure once he sends me the proposal on Friday, he's going to be hoping for some sort of an answer, one way or another, the next week. So that's just
when you send out the proposal, can you send a link to like one of the videos that they've done or one of the segments that they've done so we can kind of look at what that looks like too? Thank you.
I was just looking at those yesterday, actually. Make myself a note. I think that'll be fun. Hoping it's fair. All right. I have stalled enough. I think we're gonna have to move on to grants. So just we can vote on the Art Walk grant. unfortunately, the Wisconsin Lions State Convention grant, we don't have quorum. So I think I'm going to have to call a special Zoom meeting, because this is in May and they need to know before April. But let me wait until Friday to find out what the deadline is for PBS, and maybe we can get both of those done in one Zoom meeting. So if that's okay with you guys, okay. Just take it away on art walks.
All right, so Art Walk Middleton, set for May 18th, here in the city of Middleton, obviously. Grant request is for $1,750, partnership, event sponsorship, to be used toward marketing and advertising. Is this one that we've sponsored before?
Yes,
Okay.
so we've sponsored this in the past, and I think past sponsorships have been like 1,000, well, 50, 500, 12, 1,500. It's gone up a little bit, I think, each year.
Sure.
And I did speak with Michelle because in her proposal, it was talking about, I think in the budget portion, it talks about for marketing, and these are very local, Dane County, targeted. And I told her for a tourism grant, we really need to target outside of Dane County. And so she promised that they were going to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you have any other questions. And I think like Middleton Lifestyles has already been booted because something to do with, it won't be online or something by then. But she did email me and say that they would look outside of Dane County too. And that would be contingent on their grant.
It's kind of it's a little bit of a struggle because I think, like these local events are great for the community. I think it's important to support them. But when you look at, kind of what our purpose is and what those funds are for and who they should be targeted to, it's just tough to always justify the amount. Let me know if you feel
No, I mean, like, I'll let everybody else too. I feel that way about like all of these runs, like these 5K, like they're 8,000 5Ks and whatever. And I feel like that about quite a few things that reach out to me for sponsorships that I don't even bring in front of you. Art Walk, it does not bring out of towners from what we can tell, and they wouldn't track it anyway. And right now they don't have a way to actually track how many people come. We tried to help 2 years ago. We set up a tent and the three of us took turns sitting out there trying to like count, trying to get raffle, like we were giving away a really nice raffle basket, to get people to like sign up just so we kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
People either had no interest or like it would be the same people walking by picking up giveaways every single time. And so it's hard to tell like how successful it is. Last year I opened the visitor center and I only got 20 people. And I think half were from Middleton and didn't know the art walk was going on.
Sure.
And so, and I relayed that to the organizers, just so you know. You got to probably do a little bit more social media, like a little bit further ahead and get people talking about it. We always do social media. We've been doing a billboard, which is free for us. We get 5 a year, and we've been using the billboard for Art Walk. And then we've done sponsorships for them too. And I would say it is a tourism friendly event that doesn't drive tourism. And it's completely up to commission on how you would feel about that. I do think we have the funds. But it's entirely up to you guys.
I think we have the funds. I'm not trying to be a Scrooge. I just also heard that like each year the ask is going up. So, is the quality of the event going up? Is the attendance steadily increasing? Is next year they're going to ask for $2,000 and then 20, so I kind of look to the group. Again, I am a huge community partner. I think these events are great. I just don't want to get ourselves in a position where this gets approved, continues to get approved, and somebody says you said that my event didn't put heads in beds, so it didn't qualify, yet the art walk you gave 1750 towards. So that's kind of where I struggle a little bit. And that's because I've been in a position of having to answer that or try to answer it. And when you don't have one, you're in a little bit of a pickle.
Yep. I agree.
I think that there are, because recently someone came up to me and was pretty upset that we used to practically full on pay for Good Neighbor Fest or something, or close to. Like we used to give something like $20,000 a year.
Yeah, it was the largest grant of the year every year.
Yeah, but we also had no idea what it was being spent on. It certainly wasn't being spent on marketing the event to outsiders, and we were seeing no like uptick. And so we went back to, this is no longer a line item in the budget. You have to apply for a grant. And in the 4 years I've been here, they've never applied for a grant. The last 2 years, they've sent me sponsorship letters, and I've emailed and called and said, like, I don't fill out sponsorship letters. You apply for a grant.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, there are certain events that make your community look like a destination, and festivals and major events do that. And they can sometimes give you a lot of free earned media. And so like Gilda's Run, I've given them small, like $1,000, $1,500 sponsorships. We get a ton of free earned media. Middleton is all over the news everywhere in a very, very positive light. And she tracks the zip codes, and she sends me a list of all the zip codes, so I know how many people from out of town came. Art Walk, Strolling Jazz, Good Neighbor Fest. These are events that we know don't drive traffic to hotels.
Mm-hmm.
But they do make us seem more like a destination, because quite honestly, without them, we don't have a lot of events in this town. We have Bachfest, Art Walk, Strolling Jazz, Good Neighbor Fest, Mustard Day, and Mustard Day hasn't applied for a grant in years. Even though last year I probably had 4 conversations with them, they never applied for a grant. We did a lot of promo for them though. We tried to like make up for it in that way. And then Capital Flight has 2 huge events that actually fill hotels, and they don't apply for grants either. And I mean, I can't force someone to apply for a grant. I can email and whatever. And at some point I'm just kind of like, either you want free money or you don't.
I feel like, okay, so I'm gonna keep my chamber hat on, I guess, and just say, I would encourage Michelle or somebody to, get some in the future, get some testimonials or statements or data from the businesses downtown. And if those businesses are seeing an increase in traffic and an increase in sales during some of these events, I feel like it's more of a chamber sponsorship ask, because it's supporting our business community, than it is tourism. I am not saying no to the sponsorship. I'm just saying that maybe we should kind of look at this as, okay, so it's not putting heads in beds, but it is making us look like we are a destination. Are the people that are coming for these events, even though they're local, is it helping the businesses downtown? And if the answer is yes, then the chamber should step in and maybe sponsor the event.
I didn't even know the chamber did that. I didn't know you guys had like grant dollars.
I mean, we don't necessarily, we're getting there. We don't necessarily have a ton of money budgeted for it. But again, it's very easy for me to justify if I have those statements or testimonials or data, giving them the $750 and tourism contributes $1,000. You know what I mean?
Well, I can make that part of their post-event report. Like if we give them this grant, I can say, in order to receive this grant, part of your post-event report is we want testimonials from and I can name the businesses downtown that I think would actually probably see an uptick. Like they have to just call and say, hey, did you see more business that day? And then, and look, pretty much like anything else that we really want to track. Again, they're kind of guessing on numbers, but everybody who doesn't sell tickets is guessing on numbers. Strolling Jazz guesses on numbers, like
Yeah.
Mustard Museum, Mustard Day guesses on numbers. They do it based on sales. So Michelle said last year for the art walk, multiple vendors sold out of everything that they had, which is fantastic. Doesn't necessarily tell me if that was, 10 people or 100 people.
Right.
And Mustard Day, they go by sales and tickets sold for the games and things like that. And then I don't know, they have volunteers everywhere kind of trying to get it. I actually have aerial footage from last year, so we can kind of go look through and go, yeah, that looks like quite a few from
Sure.
last year. But I'm not opposed to that, and letting them know, like, just for future reference, we're feeling like this is less of a tourism event and more of a chamber business event, and maybe there's a way to co-sponsor in the future.
Yep. So
I
I
mean,
guess
I'm not
I would
going
make a motion to approve the 1750 destination event sponsorship for this year, as long as their post-event report surveys in some way those businesses downtown to see if they saw an increase in business during the art walk. And then next year, Mara, you and I can sit down and say, hey, let's talk about either adding to it or sharing part of this cost. I just, if it's helping the business community, it can be justified for me.
Well, I love that. So that works for me. Does anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 1750 to the art walk.
Okay.
Contingent, obviously, on that
Sort of.
first event report.
Oh, go ahead.
Sort of my comment to this, I guess, being kind of the rookie to the commission, and in the time I've been here, I haven't seen a ton of grant dollars. And it seems like a lot of them go to this, what we do get goes to this type of event. And I don't know if it's just the timing of the year where the grants come in and the requests, but so far, I've only been, 4 months, I guess.
Oh no, like when I was looking back, well, in 2023, we gave less in grant dollars than we did in 22. And part of that is we really didn't have any sports events at all in 23. And, but we have the money for these groups. The sales teams at the hotels have to encourage them to apply. Because there's no way for me to know when they're coming in. And Jonathan, obviously I sat down with him and he knows, and then we have a meeting set up with his 2 new people. And we'll share all the materials as well. And then, our website. And some of this, I know it's difficult because you have a piece of business that's looking at you, sending out an RFP, and you're like, well, I don't have a month to wait. And that's why I sent an email today, I don't know when, to you and Jonathan about that one lead that I saw. And I was like, well, I can pre-approve these things because they're under $2,000 and tell you that there's a very good possibility that they'd be, able to secure a $5,000 grant and we could do a Zoom meeting. And those are things that we can kind of try to do to try to bring more business into the hotels. And that is one of my goals for this year, is to figure out like how do we get the information out there in a more serviceable way, because it's on our website and we have the sheets and I've met with people, but that still doesn't necessarily always make it easy for you guys to share it.
Right.
But you can always call me and say, what do you think is realistic that we can offer? Yeah. Because I know that in some of the cases we're dealing with pieces of business that are looking at like Nashville and Chicago, and you're like, how do you get them to come here? And
tell me about
they might be like, what? So on our watch, look, guys, we have artisans here. So yeah, and that's why we broadened the criteria for the grants. It's no longer just for new business. We have one grant that is for new business specifically, and it's kind of like almost anything goes. And then the other one, Destination Partnership Grants, has developed into kind of like a catch-all, because there are things like the Wisconsin Coaches Association, which they've been here 12 years, but we don't want to lose them because it's a huge piece of winter business.
Yep.
And it's very well attended, and they are the nicest, easiest people in the world to work with.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like of course,
Sure.
we're going to give you a grant. And then sometimes we get these surprise grants. Like last year we had the Blue China and Wisconsin square dancers. I don't know how they found out about our grant, but I was very excited about
That
it.
was through our sales team. Yeah.
See there, and we were able to, and they had their post-event reports were so positive that they want to come, look at us again. And so, and that's the other thing too, like if there's a way we can spend some money on getting groups here so that they want to add us to their cycle.
Yep.
But yeah, and if you guys have any ideas, I am open.
I should probably know this, but we're on like, Destination Madison's website, like a link to our grant offerings, right?
No, they don't do that. So,
All the money we pay them, and they don't do that?
they don't do that. I have a meeting with them. Oh, this is March, in a couple of weeks actually, and bringing things like that back up. Let me see here. I'm just gonna write this down. I don't want to get too much into it right now, but
So, another effort that might be worthwhile is getting a list of WSAE members or associations, things of that nature, and kind of doing an email blast with our application out to them, letting them all know that the program exists to book their business down here in Middleton. Get it straight into the meeting planner's hands before we've even got an RFP in our hands or a proposal out, as a marketing effort in a sense.
do they do that?
Or even like
There's lists out there.
Facebook ad to like different associations or event planning, which you may already do, Mari. But yeah, that surprises me that Destination Madison doesn't refer people.
Yeah.
As far as the Facebook targeting thing, it's really hard to do a Facebook ad where you target a group.
Okay.
Like it's not like I would like I can't go at WSAE.
Yeah.
And there's no way for me to know if you are a member.
Sure.
That's where that part gets difficult. But to what you're saying though, more posts that are, not just about the leisure destination, but about meeting planner, group tour. I was writing down a blog story idea of like how to plan your event here. Because we get calls about that all the time. Like anything from like I have a wedding to I have a reunion to I have a whatever. So you've got your smaller events, but then how do you plan a major event? And we have our meeting planner flyers and PDFs and things like that on our website. So developing that out a little bit more too. But WSAE actually has reached out before about placing ads with them. We've never done that.
Yeah, I just renewed my membership, and then usually about a month later, they'll send out their hard directory of all the members with all their contact information. It's obviously not very
user-friendly.
Right. Right. There's a lot of data in it, but it's an actual like laminated booklet.
Let me look at that.
Or targeting just a few, association management companies, some AMCs specifically, the few, there's probably a handful of large ones in our state, and starting there might not be a bad idea too.
So like I said before, we're very involved in like WMPI.
Yep.
And then in Circle Wisconsin, Laura attends 4 trade shows. She went to AB, American Bus Association, Select Traveler. We'll be going to Circle Wisconsin here in a few weeks. And then she's going to Trex and We're looking at one in Milwaukee this year, Connect.
Yeah.
Meeting and Sports is in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And that's a very expensive one, but it's in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
So we aren't going to have to spend a fortune on travel. So we were looking at possibly doing that.
it's a good show too.
It's right over top of Good Neighbor Fest.
Mhm.
It's like that week. So we were actually talking to Verona about possibly tag teaming. Like if Allison wanted to go and kind of help out, and then we because she doesn't have the budget and she's part-time.
Yep.
So maybe she can go up for a day and then Laura go up for a couple of days and that kind of thing. But these are all great ideas. I am open to all ideas because first of all, even though it wasn't in our budget, we can go back and we can put forward a proposal to finance and say, listen, we've decided we needed to add these things. And trying to get the word out about our grants. And to be honest, I mean, your properties are the ones that are most likely to apply for a grant because you have meeting space. Now, that's not to say like Holiday Inn Express could, because I like Cross Country Ski has used them before and used their meeting room.
Yep.
Like there's opportunity there, or just for smaller grants. That's why we added coffee breaks and board meetings and transportation. But just trying to get all of the hotels involved in this too.
Mhm.
But no, I will take these ideas. And if you guys are looking at our website and thinking, I don't know if that's how a meeting planner thinks, then feel free to let me know too.
Okay. Take a look.
We have sports, we have bus tour, and we have meeting planner, and they're kind of very similar right now on how they're set up.
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we don't need to vote on anything else except closing the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn. Get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
I.
Great
All right.
meeting, everybody.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
Talk to you in a week or
Thanks.
so.
I'm gonna stop recording.